So, for the confused admirer who's on here tonight, I will give you a bit of oxygen. You can waste all your time, bro, sis, whoever you are. You're not going to stop me.
So that was Martine Wallace. Freedom to explore. Responding to this question, well, it's not really a question, but it was posted in the Q&A of her recent Zoom meeting. My greatest disappointment is that ASIC did not act fast enough to list all the crap you have promoted, and that hardworking people got scammed on your false promises.
So, for the confused admirer who's on here tonight, I will give you a bit of oxygen. You can waste all your time, bro, sis, whoever you are. You're not going to stop me.
Now, to consider this the comment of a confused admirer, you'd have to be living in a deluded reality. Either that or you're so vain. You probably think this video's about you. Don't you? Don't you?
You do, don't you? Yeah.
G'day, folks. And it's the 20th day of Dow. Depending on how quick I edit this, it might be the 21st day of Dow. I've had a few days off. I've had an ear infection. Now, which ear, I hear you ask? Well, as my mentor and upline, Ed and Leah Smith say, you got to keep your cards close to your chest.
I will work on a guide that'll be sort of like a step-by-step. You don't have to follow it step-by-step. It's just how we would go about it. And it's all about kind of, just being strategic when you give the information. Don't give them little crumbs and stuff.
So, if you want to hear more about my ear infection, comment here down below. So today I wanted to talk about the bait and switch by Bruce Hughes.
When I click on that active referral link, it's going to take me into a marketing page that will show you 2 short videos on what Dow One is, how it's been built out, what the term decentralization is, and then it'll also take you into a registration process. Now, we understand that this can be intimidating, especially if blockchain's new to you, if you don't really understand the technology. And so the team has put together tutorials on how to download your own wallets that you control, that you have the keys to and the seed phrases to. That's very important when you're dealing in any form of blockchain activity that has cryptocurrencies involved. You want to make sure that you control those cryptocurrencies and the activity taking place.
Now, he says it's really important that you maintain control over your private keys, that you maintain control over your digital assets. Here is a MetaMask user guide on custom networks and sidechains, and they specifically say, as the Ethereum ecosystem grows, a very popular option for building new technologies is to build a custom network or a sidechain, which is what a Pertum is. So in other words, we're talking about another blockchain or network that is compatible with Ethereum and that allows users to transfer tokens or value of some kind between the 2 networks. And this is where the bridging process comes in. And further down it says, that said, there are some significant and common pitfalls when dealing with sidechains that you want to avoid. This article is written to be a non-definitive guide to best practices when dealing with EVM-compatible blockchains, and we can't hope to capture all the nuances when dealing with every single instance of every sidechain, but the following are general guidelines. And then they talk about best practices. Number 1, do your due diligence. Not all networks are safe. I want to make that very clear. Not all networks are safe. In order to offer, for example, cheaper and faster transactions, custom networks usually have different security and reliability guarantees than the Ethereum mainnet. So understanding the risks before moving a significant value from one network to another is very important. And that is one very important piece of language that I want to highlight. Understanding the risks before moving value from one network to another.
And so the team has put together tutorials on how to download your own wallets that you control, that you have the keys to and the seed phrases to.
So even though you have your private key and your seed phrase, the value, the coins, are not in your wallet. They're not in MetaMask. They're not in Trust. The value is on the chain.
And so the team has put together tutorials on how to download your own wallets that you control, that you have the keys to and the seed phrases to.
And this is very important. When we're dealing with the Ethereum mainnet, we're dealing with a blockchain that has been operating, 15 years at a guess? Ethereum is decentralized. Now, what does that mean? That means that I can use one of my computers here and run an Ethereum node. So if you've been following any of the Apertum DAO 1 peddlers, you may have seen they've been talking about the fact that they released a DEX. For those of you that don't know, a DEX, DEX, refers to a decentralized exchange. Once again, they're using that decentralized word. Now, I mentioned earlier about Ethereum being decentralized, and I, if I choose, can run an Ethereum node here in my house on one of my computers. Now, why is that important for a blockchain to be decentralized when there is no other regulatory process or no other auditing happening? Let's just say I'm running an Ethereum node here and you're running an Ethereum node at your house, and I decide to put in some fake transactions. Maybe I add a couple of extra deposits to a wallet that I have. The fact that you're also running an Ethereum node means that if I try to inject some fake transactions, you can put your hand up and say, hang on, those transactions aren't in my list. There must be something wrong there. Decentralization employs accountability. Blockchains employ a process that is known as consensus. And when I'm trying to say there's an extra $100,000 worth of Ethereum in my wallet, and you and your neighbor and their friend and someone else all say, hang on, no, those transactions are fake, the consensus wins. They use the word decentralized a lot, but this is not decentralized at all. They don't necessarily have to release a source code for it to be decentralized, but there needs to be a way for other people to run Apertum nodes to validate what they are saying is accurate. So let's jump on to their so-called decentralized exchange, which is really just a token swap. It's not an exchange at all. And if I look to swap my one Apertum token to USDT, they are claiming these Apertum tokens are worth $2.85. I will run through some screenshots here that I've been taking today, where it was $2.61. Prior to that, it was $2.07. Prior to that, it was $1.99. And when Luce Dennis started sharing this, it was 94 cents. Now, here's my point. People paid between $50,000 and $10,000 to mine this token over the next 12 months, which means that right now, 20 days in, they only really have received a fraction of the total Apertum tokens they'll receive over the 12 months. So whether this Apertum token stays at this value, whether it increases or decreases, the only people that are benefiting from this price pump right now, if they are actually able to sell it, are the founders of the project with their 100 million tokens that they put aside. And while you're looking at this and going, we're nearly 1 month in, the biggest problem here, and we're literally watching this price change while I'm recording this, without this being decentralized and without any type of external audit. First, how can we be sure that this wrapped USDT that exists on the Apertum chain, it's not the same as the USDT on Ethereum? Let's make that clear. Just because they use the same name doesn't make it the same thing. So just because they say one Apertum and it just went up is $2.88 in their wrapped USDT, who's keeping these people honest? Just because all of this is publicly accessible and it's gone up again, it doesn't mean what they're writing on each block is true and accurate, because no one is verifying that. All we can do is have a look at the blocks that have been written.
To understand blockchain, we need to understand that it is a transparent accounting book, meaning that you and I can see every single page of the accounting book that accounts for all transactions, that account for all movements happening through a particular blockchain. So as the name suggests, each block is the page of an accounting book. And each block keeps in it the number of transactions that happen in that period. When you start putting multiple blocks together, multiple accounting books together, what you end up with is a chain of blocks, a block chain. And so you're able to go all the way back and see every transaction that has ever taken place on a particular blockchain.
Now, I'll say this again. Blockchains can be centralized, but there needs to be that level of trust. They make it sound like you're in charge. You have your private key. You have your seed phrase. When it's on a public, decentralized network, you can even run a node if you like. When you transfer value from Ethereum to a Pertum, you need to ask yourself this. Can you trust the network provider? The closed-sourced, centralized blockchain, why do they lie so much about it being decentralized? If this was just an ordinary decentralized shitcoin, I wouldn't be making so many videos about it. Come on, Pertum, let me run a node. Let me run a node. There is nothing decentralized about this. They are lying to you. They are lying to people with little crypto knowledge that see the hype on the news. Look at how much Trump just made out of his meme coins. Look at the price of Bitcoin lately. They use the media hype and they use terminology that people don't fully understand, and they are fucking lying. Everything they say is a lie. I'll say it again. This isn't just a shitcoin. This is a fucking fraud. You're so
vain. You
probably think this video is about you.
You skag. You probably think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you, grub? You're so vain.
You can waste all your time, bro, sis, whoever you are. You're not going to stop me.